Oh,
something new came up. Apparently, we're being recorded.
We're not used to this, are we, Vic?
no, we're not.
No.
It's too planned and professional. What's going on here?
I do believe we are actually live now.
We are live.
That's it.
We are. We've been given the nod. So welcome to the UK Vape Show.
Yeah.
The UK Vape Show special, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you've got for VOXPO. Do I actually say that right? I think for the last 3 times we've been on together, I don't normally say VOXPO right, do I?
No, I think
you said it right this time. Yes, you said.
Have I said it right?
Yay!
Yes. This is Vape Live by VOXPO. It's our third outing and our most technically competent one yet.
Yes.
Yeah, we've gathered that when we first turned up. I did feel that we was in an airport for a while because you had loads of people talking in the background, and I'm going to Adam, I can't hear you, mate.
I know. Turn your microphone up.
Well, you said it was just a kind of like an informal chit-chat thing, so I thought, okay, well, let's make it as informal as I possibly can.
Yeah, like we're sat in the middle of a coffee shop.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I'm surprised my mother-in-law isn't here because she only turns up when you don't want her.
Yeah.
I can say things like that. We're not actually on YouTube. I can say offensive, not offensive things, but I nearly did it. We've just had this conversation before we went live. And
don't swear. Don't say anything that you shouldn't say. We're not on them sort of shows. That's it. We're actually done.
We need to be professional.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what normally happens?
We talk normally a lot of rubbish, to be honest with you, but obviously we might have a tudgy little bit of structure to this one because you're here. We thought we'd ask you a few questions.
Oh,
it's always fun.
It is. Well, the first question we were thinking about was how come it's on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and not on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
That's a very good question. We did it because it's very difficult choosing the dates to make everybody happy. Obviously, if you have it over the weekend, it could be sort of more sort of that consumer-led and sort of people who are at work. But as a business thing, to get the vape companies who are sort of working their normal sort of business hours, we sort of went for that. And also, I think the problem is that for the last year, no one actually even knows what day it is anymore. So, I mean, it's for me, it's either a Wednesday or a Saturday, and it's been like that for a year now. So I think we're lucky that we're just here, basically, and that we're all here, that we're able to talk, we're able to connect, and we don't even know what day it is.
No. Obviously, when you was actually coming up with the dates, you didn't probably know that there was going to be coming out of the lockdown as it's actually come out. So I would imagine you've thought of them dates. It doesn't really matter, like you said, because a lot of people in lockdown, they're all at home. But obviously, with the lockdown coming out, there's a lot of people gone back to work.
Yeah, so we're kind of sort of slowly getting back to sort of some sense of normality. And it's one of the things that's sort of quite good about this platform that even if people weren't able to be here now, they can, should they choose to, watch a recording of this later on. And what joys will be in store for them. But the fact that we're coming out of lockdown now is quite sort of fortuitous for us. It's also good for the industry that sort of finally the vape stores are being able to open up again. And we've already sort of heard on this event that the tremendous impact that it's had, not only on the industry itself, but on vapers who really have limited access to things, but especially on smokers who now think, well, I'll just continue smoking because I can't get vape product. I don't know if you guys have got any sort of personal stories of how that sort of impacted you or how it's impacted people that you know. But really, as far as I'm concerned, the government should not be shutting down vape stores. Just period, full stop. You should not be shutting down vape stores.
The thing with it is obviously with all the support that we get from the NHS, Royal College of Physicians, and everything else, then we should in turn. I'm not trying to speak out of term at all, but we should in turn be classed as an essential business because of all the backup that we get. The Royal College of Physicians, the 95% safer than combustible tobacco.
It's gone up now. It's gone to 97 or something.
Yeah, 97.5. But with all the backup that we're getting, look at him showing his shiny off. Is that because you can and there's no NDA on a webinar?
No, it's the Geek Vape Aegis Legend 2. The NDA was lifted yesterday.
Ooh. But because of all the backup that we do get from NHS and Royal College of Physicians and multiple other organisations, then yeah, we should be classed as an essential retail. I know of a lot of stores that have continued doing click and collect throughout throughout the lockdown. Obviously, the first lockdown was completely different because people took it. I say it very blasé, but people took it very, very seriously in the first one, and then the second one got a little bit lighter, and the third one got a little bit lighter. And a lot of people, obviously, Aidan come up with a good story. I think it was during the second lockdown when you said that one of your vape stores near you started putting toilet roll and pot noodles in their window.
You know, the actual store on the corner from me, what they did was, before that was actually a vape shop, it was a convenience store, so it was still classed as that. So what they did is they had pot noodles, washing powder and toilet rolls on one side, and then on that side they had all the vape stuff. Now they had to have, I think it was at least 70% or one way around the other way for them to actually do it. But in the end, and this is how the world seems to be at the minute, in the end somebody actually reported them to the council.
That happens a lot. Yeah,
that was open, so they were selling them, but obviously people could get the juice, the coils, what they need, because obviously they're stopping smoking. So in the end, they had to make it click and collect for the vape side of it. So if you went in to buy a toilet roll and then bought a vape, you'd be fine. But if you went in to buy a vape and didn't buy a toilet roll, you had to actually message them before you went in.
But that's another thing. That's another annoying thing about the country, basically, is that we've got so many people who just want to report on others. Oh, look, they're doing that. Let's tell somebody. I'm sure that probably happens on the continent as well. But the point is, if you tell the regulators or the authorities in Germany or France, they just go like, nah, we don't care.
Have you lot got a chat up here? Because I haven't got a chat. Where is it?
Oh, go down on the bottom. It says chat.
Oh yeah, down the bottom. Yeah, down the bottom.
Oh, chat. There you go. There it is. Yeah, sorry. So it's Danny, nice to see you, Danny. Hope you're okay, buddy.
So, the thing with it is we've lost that neighbourly touch. Can you remember? I certainly when I was growing up, if you went on holiday, you could leave a door open, you could leave a window open, and next door wouldn't report you for it or go and nick your PlayStation. They'd keep an eye out on your building for you. And I think over the years things have changed, and it's become one for all, one for one, not one for all. So
yeah. Which is an horrible thing, because obviously they're doing a service. And I think that's the biggest thing you were saying, was that they're actually doing a service. What are people going to do? Are they going to go then to the supermarket and go and buy a packet of cigarettes when they've run out of the juice?
I think my local convenience store, which is just across the road, have got a couple of vape products in there. They've got a couple of products in there. They've got juices, they've got Nick salts, they've got a Vape in there. They've got a few bits and pieces, and the thing with it is obviously it should be classed as essential with all the backup. It's not like we are just sat here going, we should be essential, so we should be essential. We've got so much backup. And I know that the online business has absolutely flown during lockdown. I know there's been a lot of people who've gone back to stinkers, but I think that's mostly to do with the stress of lockdown and not seeing your family and everything else, and not feeling like they're getting enough nicotine. Because I know of friends that are like that. They've been sat there on 3 milligram for 2 years, but the moment that you get taken away from your family, and your family may live further afield, that it is going back to that. You know what? It's stress. I'm going to smoke cigarettes again, even though you're going out and spending however much they cost nowadays. But the support system that a vape shop gives is what's very, very, very understated, because I know
it also could have been as well. You know, like obviously with this lockdown, you sat in your garden. A lot of people did all the gardens up, didn't they? They all sat in there and are having a beer. It might have been a thing where they thought, you know what, I might have a kickstart here and stop smoking. And you know, because they're not working, they might think, well, do you know what? I might be able to stop the stress. So they could have gone into them stores and maybe bought their first device, but obviously with them not opening, they couldn't do that.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone who is joining us in chat, by the way. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, every chat person there. The other point as well, sorry, about the lockdown.
No, you keep going.
No, it's just literally, I've got two numbers in my head, and if I don't get them out now, I'll forget what the numbers are. So
you could tell me the lottery ones, could you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, the point is that the convenience sector and the garages and places like that, they saw in the UK over the year of the lockdown, I think it was a 29% increase in vape sales, and vape sales of approximately £60 million. Now, that money, I'm not saying that people should not go to these places, but it just shows that the amount of money that has been basically sort of sucked out of the traditional the traditional sort of vape stores. And I think it would be in an ideal world that if you're a smoker and you want to quit, or you think you want to quit, and you think that vaping might help, your first point of call should be the vape store, because you are going to get someone who wants you to help. They actually genuinely, as soon as you walk in the door and you say, I'm a smoker and I want to quit, they go, all right, I'm going to sort you out and I'm going to find you the ideal product and the thing that's going to work best for you. If you go into your supermarket, you're not going to get that. You're going to see a couple of products on the shelf and you choose one and you go, hope this works. If it doesn't work, you go, well, vaping's a bit nonsense, isn't it? I don't want to go back to that. So
there's a big advantage. Sorry.
So yeah, I would like to see the situation to be where people sort of go and build up relationships with their specialist local vape stores, and then if they get caught short somewhere, and when I say caught short, I mean caught short by not having they can then go into the convenience store or the petrol station and buy some liquid or whatever.
Go and have a whittle.
The advantage with the petrol stations now, and this is something that I don't think anyone's hit on just lately, but because of some of the, I'm going to call them bigger brands, but I don't mean bigger brands, such as Vape Dinner Lady and companies like that are now that have started to branch over the last couple of years into your convenience stores, into your Tesco's, into your Morrison's, into your petrol stations. It used to be a case that you walked into a petrol station and all you could buy was a Blue or a Vape or something like that. Whereas now...
Well, I actually got my first e-cigarette back in 2006 from a Shell garage. It cost me 85 quid, right? And it was just a Cigarette, and it had the little cartridges, low, medium and high. And that was £85 I paid for that in 2006. What do you think about that, Vic? Oh, how much did you pay for yours, Vic?
My first one was a Cigarette from Jack Vapor, and it was their old VIP Cigarette that had the little charging case, and I think that was about 30 quid from what I remember. But that came with a pack of 5 cartos at 32 milligram each.
And 32 milligram.
32 milligram.
Listening to these two guys speak, obviously nowadays you can go into a petrol station. There's Juicy, there's Vape Dinner Lady. There's multiple different bigger companies now that are actually in the petrol station. So, as you were saying, Patrick, you can go into what we're missing is that brick and mortar experience of this is how you set up, this is how you get going. And then they can make an informed choice when they go to the petrol station and go, right, I really need some juice. I can pick up that 3 milligram Vape Dinner Lady's lemon tart, which is rubbish, by the way.
Don't say that.
But you can go to the Vape Dinner Ladies and go and buy a bit of controversy. We've got to get it out there. It wouldn't be a UK vape show if they weren't. But you can go over to I know they've redone the recipes now, and I haven't tried them since.
That's it. Backtrack, bro. Backtrack.
But you can now go to a petrol station and actually pick up some semi-decent quality juices rather than a Blue or a Vibe or something like that. Because I vaped a Vibe not long ago, and if I were quitting smoking, I always try and put myself in those shoes of you two guys down below.
Well, I mean, the good thing about if you're quitting smoking, you can't taste anything anyway.
Yeah. So
you've got COVID.
Oh yeah, you've got COVID. You can't say that. Oh wait, no, we're not on YouTube.
No, we're not on YouTube.
Can't say that on YouTube. Will they stop your stream?
Oh really? Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I'll tell you what, this actually brings us on to quite a good point here. Released today on the BBC News was free e-cigarettes for smokers in A and E. And they're trialing this out. So what they're saying is Smokers attending emergency departments will be given free e-cigarettes and taught how to use them in a trial designed to help people quit. Patients will be offered a device, enough e-liquid supplies for a week, and referral to a local stop smoking service alongside medical advice. And they're testing this in a few hospitals, I think.
And it's big ones as well: Norfolk, London, Leicester, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So it's a big trial, but this goes back to Stoptober a few years ago. Stoptober used to advertise on BBC, and they'd only show gum, inhalators, and basically a hospital. Whereas a couple of years ago, when vaping really started to take hold in the UK, that they started showing e-cigs. So I think this is the natural progression to that. It's took a while, but the natural progression is going.
So I would like to know this, right? I think it's brilliant that accident and emergency and wards and stuff are giving away e-cigarette kits to smokers. Number one, what's the kit? Number two, who makes the kit? Number three, if they're referring people to stop smoking services, especially down south in England, about 3/4 of the stop smoking services south of the border from here don't believe that e-cigarettes can actually help you give up smoking. This is the big problem that's facing the National Health Service, not just in England, but some parts up here in Scotland as well. The problem that stop smoking services have is they're a little bit too stuck in their ways. Patches, gum, spray. E-cigarettes, oh no, we don't do that. No. But look at all the bad press that come out from the United States. Some stop smoking services that are generally ran or attended by local general practitioners, especially GPs that are actually clued up about e-cigs, they're the ones that usually push this to help people quit smoking. So I would like to know, out of all these places, all these major cities that are running this trial, number one, is the stop smoking service that they're referring people to anti-vaping or pro-vaping? And number two, when the trial is finished, I want to see the numbers. I want to see the numbers of the people that actually managed to give up smoking and compare them against the stop smoking services that are anti-vaping and the stop smoking services that are pro-vaping. That's what I want to see.
I think that's a really good point, because in the last Public Health England updated report, they were making the point that we really need to get across to the public that e-cigarettes can help. Now, here is the massive problem. If the health service and the stop smoking services are not fully on board with that message themselves, then we are really not going to be able to do that to begin with. Because you don't want a situation where you go to a stop smoking service and you say, I hear vaping can help. And they go like, oh, no, we can't. We don't do that. And that brings and that brings me on to another point. But before I do that, I've just distracted myself. I thought about something else. When you started this little bit and you said, hey, I've just read it was on the BBC that A&E, you're going to get e-cigarettes. That is brilliant, because I want to say it was in the 1950s, possibly the 1960s, that the National Health Service were actually giving you cigarettes, actual traditional cigarettes, to recover from the stress of surgery. So it's amazing how far that we have come. Thankfully, the NHS isn't giving out cigarettes to patients anymore, but certainly a trial on e-cigarettes, that is good. And I think that if we are in the situation where we have health professionals who are able to say, this is something that will probably be a lot better for you. Well, not probably, that will be a lot better for you than smoking, and you should try this. That is where you're going to get the trust in the industry, because survey after survey says that when you have the industry itself, i.e. companies with a vested interest in selling their products, doing surveys that say e-cigarettes are great, you're going to get most people going like, well, of course you'd say that. So when you get independent people actually saying that it's good, that is really welcome news, and that's something that I'm really. I
think it's something that we've spoke about for a lot of years, especially on vape shows and this actually. I think that we're probably only 10, 15% of actually vapers who come online and watch shows and etc. But we've been saying for a long while that we wanted everybody, including the government, all the stop smoking people, everybody to get on one page and say, look, this saves lives. It's 97% safer than smoking. And what we're trying to do is getting you off these stinkers that it's going to save your life. But because there's so many other little bits coming in from everywhere else, and a lot of them have got other agendas behind them, there's nothing, not everybody's getting on that same page. So it was quite nice when England Health all came out and went, look, we are going to push this. We're going to try and stop this negative press that's coming out there. And we're going to tell you the truth about it. And I think we all watched that. I don't know if you've seen it, Patrick, but the Yorkshire, what was it called? The cancer research from Yorkshire?
Cancer research.
Yeah. They did an absolute brilliant video, which debunked a lot of the stuff that you hear in papers daily.
We've been very fortunate. We've been very fortunate over here in the UK for a lot of years. And to totally back up what Aidan's just said, we've had, obviously, go over them again, Public Health England, we've had all the rest of them. We haven't really necessarily had to fight as hard as other countries. So obviously the USA with the flavor bans, because death makes money over in America. We have we have the National Health Service. We pay into that looks after us come rain or shine. Whereas in America, obviously death sells. And as controversial as it sounds, they would rather people keep dying from any, I'm not just talking about the vaping scene, but from any ailment, because you have to pay for your own health service. You've got to pay for your own medication. You've got to, could remember all the stuff that we had with Philip Morris, where they were trying to join in with everything. Philip Morris International, where they were strongly pushing against vaping, yet on the backhand going, this is our vaping device. But what happened is it costs so much, it makes the country so much money, death and illness over in America, that they would never have a fair fight. Over here, we've been extremely fortunate. We've had all these backups. We've had, obviously, independent analysis of the situations. We've got Public Health in England. We've gone over some funny stories over the years of trials and tests that have been done by people throughout.
You can't do that story on here, mate.
I'm not going to do it. That's why I said funny. But over the years, there's been a lot of independent trials and a lot of independent analysis into the vaping scene and the health benefits that can come from it. Now, one of the things that I would like to see is if the NHS are going to go behind this, and this is going to sound either controversial or make complete sense, that basically it's a nicotine delivering system, therefore should be entitled to the same benefits as gum, patches, and any other smoking cessation devices. It's a nicotine, one way or another. If you're chewing gum, don't forget all the controversy that came with that, because obviously the gum bleeds into your gums, therefore creating cavities and everything else. You've got patches, which people are allergic to and cause burns on people's arms. There's risk with every single smoking cessation device that's came out. So if we can be branched under that similar, I'm not saying same, but similar help giving nicotine deliverance system, I would be more than happy with that.
Adam for Secretary of State for Health.
Yes, we're rising him up.
No, because this is me being really professional. I'm going to get back to it
really
tonight.
Well
Don't worry, guys.
To be honest with you, I did get halfway through it and thought, where's he leading us down here? This could go one way or the other way.
I did really well.
We're either going to be in a lot of trouble or he's going to come out with something good. Patrick, a question for you. Did you feel like the circles that you mix in, when everything did start going off in the US, did you feel that it did impact the UK? I've spoken to a number of people who have shops and they did find the footfall, especially when they had the stuff with the carts over in the US. Do you think it does affect us over here in the UK?
Not only does it affect us over here in the UK, but what happened in the US affected the whole world. And let's make no bones about this. And the fact that we're still talking about this now, so long after it happened, this whole EVALI crisis, it was an absolute disgrace. It was a disgrace of massive proportions. basically what happened was that people were frightened. They were scared. Parents were scared. They looked at their children and they were thinking, are they going to go to school today and end up dead because they're experimenting with vape? And this was because this was the message that was sort of propagated by the CDC and eagerly taken up by every media outlet that realized, hey, we're going to get so many clicks if we scare people to death. And the sad thing is that this will have actually led to more people dying because more people will continue to smoke rather than vape. And we can say the 95% less harmful figure until we're blue in the face. But when you have constantly in the mainstream media things like EVALI, vaping is going to kill you, vaping is dangerous, vapes explode all over the place and you'll die. Of course you're going to put people off. And for me, as somebody in the media, in the vaping media, and I know how good it does, and every single day across my desk I get stories of people how they say vaping saved my life, vaping transformed my life to the better. Both of my parents died of smoking related cancers, and I don't want to go down that route. I don't want my children to go down that route. And the fact that we have to constantly battle to get this message across is an international disgrace. And a lot of what happened in America flows around the rest of the world. One thing that I know that's all very negative and we have to deal with it, but there is a very I had something positive the other day. One of the people that I interviewed for Vape Live for these segments was a politician called Julie Casimiro from Rhode Island. And at the height of the EVALI crisis, and she's a mother, and she said, I was frightened for my own children, and people were telling me they were frightened for their children about vaping. So she campaigned very vigorously for a flavor ban in Rhode Island, which then was enacted. So there is a flavor ban there. Yeah. She did something then that not many politicians actually sort of can do. And they look at an issue again, and she said, I was wrong. Because what happened was a lot of the people in the vape store owners said, I think you've made a mistake. Will you have a look at the industry? So she went round to her local vape store. She interviewed the owners. She interviewed some advocates, and she interviewed smokers and vapors, smokers who said, I'm vaping now. I don't smoke anymore. And she goes like, we need flavors. We need vaping products. We need a thriving vaping industry. And now she is a real ally of the vaping community and tries to convince as many people as possible. I just wish there were more politicians around the world who, whether it's vaping or whatever other important issue it is, that they could actually say, do you know what? I got that one wrong. Yeah. And if that happened, the political establishment would actually find that they're respected a lot more, because it's like, okay, I can trust what that guy says. He's straight up. Rather than wanting to spend sort of 60 grand on a roll of wallpaper and try and cover it up.
Yeah.
Hey, I like this guy.
Hey. We've spoke about this lots. The one that always comes to mind, a woman, you know, these soccer mums, whatever they call them over in America. Karen. Karen, yeah. She wrote in to one of the, I think it was a vaping magazine over the UK, in the US, or she put something online. And basically she was saying that her son had bought vape online, and now he's on these 50 milligram, whatever. And my first thought was, if your 12-year-old son is buying stuff online, whose credit card did he use?
Exactly.
Why are you not, as a parent, making sure that your child's not doing that?
So throughout the years, and I can say this because currently I have an 18-year-old who's at sixth form, who we have just discovered something in his bedroom, right? And okay. I can not that exact one. I didn't go, I'll have that.
I thought we were going to go down a path there. No. We're never going to be able to pull that one back, Adam.
No. So as a parent, I have done the disappointment conversation. And And obviously, when we were kids, it wasn't a vape product. Obviously, me being an advocate for the vape scene can't turn around and go, that's bad, don't do that, to a certain degree. Because I will always get, just the same as these guys, will always get, and any vapor who is out there in the influencer world, whether that be YouTube, Instagram, or anything else, can't turn around and go, that's bad, and then on a show go, this is brilliant, you need to do this. So I can honestly say that you can still police it. You can still police it, but it's exactly the same as in the late 90s and early 2000s when I was growing up, when your mum found you smoking. It's the policeman is still there. The enforcement is still there. I wouldn't say this to his face.
So he's 18. So if he wants to vape,
so
you can't do anything about that. He's 18.
But I can honestly put myself in the position of, would I rather have found 200 Lambert and Butler under his bed, or one of these? It weighs up that question. It weighs up that question. Which would you rather do? Obviously, the 18 part comes in, so you can't go, right, you're grounded. Because you get that.
So what you're basically trying to say, and it is a very controversial sort of thing of this. Obviously, you're not supposed to vape unless you're 18 years old. But obviously, children try alcohol, they try bits and bobs that are underage. I did as a child, and
we all did.
All of you did. So you would much rather find them with a vape device in their hand than 20 Butler.
Yeah, 100%. And I can
cigarette brands are available, by the way.
Yeah.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
I think that's a great point. And the thing here is, this now then comes back to sort of two things. First of all, I think that we touched on is that parental control and parental responsibility to know what your children are up to.
Yeah.
And to act accordingly when you find that they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing or you don't want them to do. And then you can explain why you don't particularly want them to do this. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which is more important to the industry, is, and I think it's actually happening already, it's happening quite a lot, is for the industry to be a little bit more grown up, a little bit more responsible in the way that it acts, in as much as the vaping industry is designed to attract adult smokers and to stop adult smokers from doing something that's going to kill them, basically.
Yeah.
Now, you can't stop anyone experimenting with, you can't stop everybody from experimenting with things, but as long as we make it absolutely clear who vaping devices are designed for, and in our marketing and packaging and the way we sort of go about promoting things, make that absolutely clear, you will minimize the risk of vaping products falling into the hands of people who shouldn't be vaping as much that is practically possible, while still being able to save the lives of people who would otherwise smoke, and go some way towards the government's really ambitious target of a smoke-free England by 2030. Because unless we get more smokers vaping, and unless there's a more joined-up approach to that, then that's not going to happen either.
No,
so it's a balancing act.
Do you want to wait, son?
I have raised my hand because
A hand has been raised.
There is a question. Yes, there is a question. Check me out, being all professional and realizing things are happening on screen.
There's a question.
Anonymous attendee. I love the points being made on here. However, if you were put in front of a politician who is anti-vaping, what would your pitch to try and change their mind? Thank you very much, anonymous attendee.
Where's he from? Or she from?
I know they've not put age they've not put age or location. To be fair, this is a simple one to answer. I get asked this all the time. If I was in front of a negative politician, what would I say to them? And it's usually Americans that ask me this question, and all I say to them is this: the Royal College of Physicians is the oldest medical body in the world, and it's older than the United States of America. The Royal College of Physicians was the first group of medical practitioners to link smoking to cancer 25 years before the United States actually cottoned onto it. And this is why the Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement actually exists, because it came out
that all these big tobacco firms actually knew what the Royal College was talking about and decided to close the door in the Royal College's face and not let the news go out. This is the same organisation that's saying this is 95 to 97% safer than smoking. And the big thing here is, this is the big kicker here, the NHS is government run, funded by the government, funded by the taxpayer. Do you think the UK government would stick their neck on the line by saying to the NHS, it's okay for sections of you owned by the government, paid for by the taxpayer, to say that this is 95 to 97% safer than smoking, if on the off chance 10 years from now or 20 years from now something bad was going to happen? The Royal College stuck their neck out in the 50s and 60s, and they were right. They've stuck their neck out again, and it's coming true that over the past 10 years, roughly speaking, since vaping became prominent, all the way from 2006 when Aiden started all the way to 2021, what the Royal College said way back in 2010, 2011, going into 2014 is turning out to be true. You've got Dr. Farsalinos, you've got all the other, not so much pro-vaping, but neutral towards vaping, general practitioners and doctors across the EU that are now looking at what Dr. Farsalinos has said and said, you know what? He's actually right. The days of Stanton glance given at this and everyone listening is now coming to an end. Simple as that.
Talking of coming to an end, I am being not screamed at, I'm being whispered to by someone saying that we should come to an end. But we're not going to come to an end right yet because we have more questions. We can do a couple of minutes more. This has been really interesting. I've enjoyed it, but they are really, really good points. What else? Have we got any more questions? Yes, we have. I can't read that one.
I will do that. That's his job.
That's fair enough. He's got better eyes than me. I've got glasses, just not.
That's why I put my goggles on, just in case.
Yes, awesome stuff.
Pete writes in. Sorry, Pete. Once again, we can't return your letters. Do you think UK representatives and medical experts will be able to change the WHO's, Roger Daltrey and the rest of them, stance on vaping? It seems to me they are arguably one of the main culprits of scaremongering and misinformation. I will start this one off, right? And one of the things that I've always been proud of in the YouTube game is we are the original influencers. I don't care what people say about the booby models and everything else that you see on YouTube. YouTube reviewers, YouTube advocates, we've got massive ones such as Grim Green and people like that have stood by vaping. He's took medical tests and everything else. So what we can do is, one of the simplest ones would be to gather up all of Vic's comments that say, I stopped smoking because of you, and the 3 or 4 that me and Aiden have had, because we're only little small-time reviewers. But the amount of positivity that we get gives us the strength to fight back. The amount of people, like you said, Patrick, that have gone, I stopped smoking because of cherry Bakewell flavored e-juice rather than vaping. I don't want to talk about cherry Bakewell. I've got a really crap one on the shelf. But cherry. I stopped smoking because I started on a cherry Bakewell flavor rather than vaping pure VG, menthol, or tobacco. And
I think as well is if you're going to talk to somebody about the WHO, you've got to explain also where their funding's coming from. And where, again, a lot of the anti-vaping stuff, you've got to follow where the money is and what the actual, the reason behind of what they're actually saying. And I think the WHO, we can all say that they're getting funded by certain countries who are anti-vaping.
Yeah,
well, here's 100%. The interest.
Isn't this the same World Health Organization that recently went to China to investigate the coronavirus pandemic and went accompanied by a whole load of Chinese officials and came back and said, nothing to see here.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
But who have just reported £40 billion in?
The best thing about it is they think people are that daft. They, you know what I mean? They actually think people will go, oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, there's absolutely nothing there. Nothing there at all. Thank you very much for the 60 million you've just given us.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the interesting part, though. I was skimming now. This was on MSN's news bit, right? And just a quick point so we can move on. when I was reading the BBC article about A&E giving out starter packs, there was a news article on MSN's front page from a week and a half ago, and it turns out there is a growing number of Conservative and Labour politicians. You can search for it in Google. There's a growing number of Conservative and Labour politicians who are now pressuring Boris Johnson to defund the World Health Organization because of their stance on vaping.
Yes.
That actually is true, and that is something that we're writing about in the next edition of the, or is it this edition of the magazine? I can't remember which one it is. It all blurs into one for me. But that is exactly.
You wouldn't think you were the editor, would you?
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't think. Yeah, how am I the editor? No, but seriously, the all-party parliamentary group on vaping have made exactly that point, and they said that, in a nutshell, what they've said is, the World Health Organization stance appears to be anti-vaping and at odds with the UK's stated aims to get people off smoking. And if that is the case, and unless it changes, then we should seriously consider cutting back quite considerably the amount of aid that we give to them. And that is the only language they'll understand.
Yep.
It's money.
It's money.
I was going back to my Sundays then, being sort of controversial and saying things like that. But that's it. I think we've actually run out of time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have been here. Quite nerve-wracking because I didn't know what you guys were going to say. But I think we got through there in the end. We did
really well.
We didn't offend too many people. And hopefully I'm going to still have a job at the end of it. And if I do, we'll see you on the next one.
Yay. And if you want to check us out as well, ladies and gentlemen, come and check us tonight on YouTube on Vaping with Vic. You can see the UK Vape Show will be on at 9 o'clock, and it is a little bit more
grown up.
Fair enough.
Patrick, it's been brilliant. I do want to say you are more than welcome to come on with us as a guest on the actual UK Vape Show, if you so wish.
Oh, I look. Why am I not in my head? No, I can't possibly do that. No, I can't do that. Whether or not it'll be this one, but yeah, I'd love to be on the show with you. It sounds great. We obviously cover just a lot of topics on this one, but I'm sure we can do a lot more in depth on that. And yeah, I'll take you up on that offer at some point. We're out of time. I've got to end it now. Thank you very much, and enjoy everything. Thanks very much. Bye.
Night.
Bye.